Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and Hurricane HD video blog for Thursday, May 30th, 2013. Tropical depression, or what's left over of Hurricane Barbara, now milling around over the Mexican coastline there, just straddling the coast of the southwest Gulf of Mexico, more properly the Bay of Campeche right here. And the forecasts now indicating that it's going to stay over land and not come out into the Gulf here and to regenerate. So that's good news. Looking at a satellite picture of the region, you can see that it has really taken a beating. Very limited shower and thunderstorm activity, or what we call convection. Very limited in nature, so it's starting to fall apart. That small but potent circulation came inland yesterday over southern Mexico, tried to make it across this narrow strip of land, relatively speaking narrow, but didn't quite make it out into the Bay of Campeche and head on out into the open waters of the Gulf. That's not going to happen. We will continue to watch the region because the Madden-Julian oscillation, which is a favorable period of upward motion in the atmosphere and thus conducive to convection in the tropics, is and will be over the next couple of weeks hanging around in phases 1 and 2 here, which collectively favors the Western Hemisphere and even Africa. So some strong tropical waves for this time of year are probably going to emerge from the African coast and make their way across the Atlantic, where they may be a candidate for development once they reach the Western Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico or even the Eastern Pacific. So for as long as we see the MJO pulse hanging around in this region until and if it moves on out and gets out of this area, we should be in a somewhat favorable window of opportunity for something to develop. And if we go back to that previous slide, you can tell there's lots of convection here across the Atlantic basin and down in the extreme Eastern Pacific, and Barbara was a part of this burst of overall upward motion that we're seeing here in the Western Hemisphere. It produced a hurricane out of it in the Eastern Pacific. So we'll watch this MJO pulse and see what happens. And as we enter the hurricane season on June 1st here, Saturday, day after tomorrow, things just might stay active enough that we'll have something to talk about. But I don't see anything too serious, no imminent threats in the long-range computer models. But since hurricane season officially begins on Saturday for the Atlantic Basin, it is going to be time to really start to pay attention to these kinds of things, and we'll see what happens. Well, that's it. Pretty short and sweet, to the point today. No worries about Barbara and its leftovers, but we will be watching the Western Hemisphere since we're in a favorable MJO pulse. Other than that, that is it. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, my site. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video blog.